Welcome to the News Hour. It was 1 year ago today that Hamas gunmen launched a surprise terror attack on Israel, killing and wounding thousands and abducting hundreds more. In Israel and around the world, memorials marked a year of loss, a year of trauma, and a year of war that is still unfolding. It was not yet dawn. Still, families of Israel's victims had already gathered to remember, lighting candles and choking back tears for the more than 360 people who were killed at the site of a music festival 1 year ago. When the sun finally rose, club music echoed. It was the last song that festival goers heard on October 7th, 2023, before the shooting started. And in pain laid bare, the solemn ceremony pierced by the anguished wail of a victim's relative. Families spoke of the moment that everything changed.
It seems to be like yesterday was the last day we saw him. For us, yesterday was the last day of the old life.
In Jerusalem, sirens blared at 6:29 a.m., believed to be the precise moment Hamas-led militants began their attack, massacring more than 1,200 people and taking over 200 hostages. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today visited a memorial, the names of the victims etched forever in iron, and surrounded by his cabinet held a minute of silence before insisting on strength in the resulting war.
Since that black day, we have been fighting. This is the war of our existence, the war of resurrection. This is how I would like to officially call the war. We will end the war when we complete all the goals we have set.
And indeed, across the world, others paid tribute. President Biden and the First Lady honored those lost with a prayer, God full of mercy, and the lighting of a single candle. The solemn anniversary was also front of mind on the campaign trail. Former President Donald Trump comforted Jewish leaders and visited a memorial gravesite in Queens. His running mate, J.D. Vance, in a separate event in Washington, D.C., said he and so many others share in Israel's pain.
We can't ever let our fellow citizens forget that October the 7th was not just an attack on Israel, and it was not just an attack on Jews, it was an attack on Americans.
Vice President Kamala Harris planted a pomegranate tree, which represents hope and righteousness in Judaism, on the grounds of her residence and offered words of support and comfort to Israel.
Doug and I pray for the family and loved ones of all of those who were lost. And may their memories be a blessing.
And in an interview airing tonight on CBS 60 Minutes, Harris said this when pressed on the U.S. relationship with Netanyahu.
Do we have a real close ally in Prime Minister Netanyahu?
I think, with all due respect, the better question is, do we have an important alliance between the American people and the Israeli people? And the answer to that question is yes.
For many Palestinians, there was grief for the 42,000 Gazans that local health officials say have been killed since the war began. And there was anger for what many Palestinians are calling a genocide at the hands of the Israelis.
A year has passed and Israel is stumbling. It is committing massacres against our people, our children, and our houses.
In Gaza, this day was not so much an anniversary, but a day like all the others. Many were still reeling from Israeli airstrikes that tore through a mosque and a shelter for displaced people early Sunday that killed at least 26 and wounded nearly 100 others. And as the war rages on multiple fronts, Israel continued its relentless aerial assault on neighboring Lebanon in its pursuit of Hezbollah militants. What were entire blocks in Beirut's southern suburbs are now craters.
Nothing is left. Our whole lives have changed. We have been displaced to the streets, all of us together.
Hezbollah launched some 175 rockets into northern Israel in return. A tit-for-tat on a tense day in which Israel promised to launch more operations in Lebanon along the southern coast. And as the Israeli military told Gazans across the north to flee south, and told the displaced in Khan Yunis already to the south to flee anywhere else.
They said evacuate, and we evacuated. And every time we're evacuated to the streets, I wish they would eliminate us and end our suffering.
For some, today marks a grim milestone. For others, another day in a life upended by a war with no end in sight.